SMN Station Mission Education. SMN Station Mission Education. SMN Station Mission Education.
Good morning, student. I am Prakash Raj Pandey.
Present in this video to discuss the subject matter relating to communication, which include concept, process, types, and structure of communication, barriers to effective communication, and enhancing effective communication. However, I am discussing the subject matters. At the same time, I am also wishing you, the students, starting to subscribe, share, like, and comment on the video. Please keep watching. Thanking you. Now, I am going to discuss right here the title is communication. Okay, let's see what it means. The word communication is derived from the Latin word communis, which means common. Thus, communication means sharing ideas in common. In the organizational context, it is the process of sharing information with other individuals. It is the systematic and continuous process of telling, listening, and understanding. Information means any idea, opinion, thought, belief, emotion, etc. that managers desire to share with other individual. Since communication is a commonly used management skill and is often cited as the one ability most responsible for a manager's success, prospective managers must learn how to communicate. A manager should transmit information for various reasons like achievements of coordination, expression of feeling and emotion, and sharing of information related to goals, directions, efforts, and decision making, and so on in an organization. Communication is vital for the existence of organizational life. It is said that communication is lifeblood. Without it, no one can imagine about organization. Now, let us see the definition defined by the different writer, how they perceived it. Okay, according to Ricky Griffin, communication is the process of transforming information from one person to another. According to Keith Davis, a behavioral scientist, says that communication is the transfer of information and understanding from one person to another person. It is essentially a bridge of meaning. Similarly, Joy Kelly says that communication is the field of knowledge which deals with the systematic application of symbols to acquire common information regarding an object or event. Lastly, Newman and Summers says that communication is an exchange of facts, ideas, opinions, or emotions by two or more persons. Right now, we can obviously discuss in detail on communication process. Communication is a continuous process in organization. It exists or it consists of steps between the sender and the receiver that results in transfer and understanding the message within the environment. Messages are in the environment. Message is what is to be communicated. It can be ideas, information, views, and emotion. They must be transmitted for communication. The communication process includes following steps. Number 1, sender. Sender denotes the individual, group, or organization who picks up the information from the sources. Number 2, encoding. It is the process of converting the raw message into the symbol, that is word, sound, number, picture, gesture, or action. Number 3, channel. It is the medium for message transformation. They can be of various types, such as oral media that can be applied in form of conversation, meetings, telephone calls, presentation, etc. Similarly, written media can be the form of memos, letters, reports, forms, etc. And non-verbal media may be of facial expression, body language, and environmental elements. Number 4, decoding. It is the process of translating the message, symbols. In this process, meaning is given to the message in the form that can be understood by the receiver. Number 5, receiver. It is the target audience of communication. The receiver can accept or reject the message. Now, number 6, feedback. It is the response of the receiver. It tells the sender whether the message was received as intended. It determines whether or not the understanding has been achieved. Number 7, noise. It is unplanned distortion during communication. Due to external factors, it reduces the effectiveness of communication. Okay, now let's see the structure of communication, which includes Number 1, two-way process. Number 2, flow. Number 3, symbols. Number 4, channels. Number 5, noise. Number 6, networks. Number 7, feedback. Okay, now discuss in detail of them one by one. Number 1, two-way process. Communication involves at least two people, that is sender and receiver. Number 2, flow. It is at least a two-way flowing process. For instance, in an organization, order, direction, circular, opinion, message of the management, etc. are followed downwards, that is top to bottom, and complaints, suggestion, grievances, opinion, etc. are permitted to communicate upwards, that is bottom to top. The flow of information can also be in various directions, that is upward, downward, horizontal, and diagonal. Number 3, symbols. What it means. Communication involves symbols of message. They can be the nature of oral, written, or non-verbal, according to the needs of an organization. Number 4, channels. Communication is transmitted through channels or media. They are in between receiver and sender. They can be of various types, such as oral media can be applied in form of conversation, meetings, telephone calls, presentation, etc. Written media can be the form of memos, letters, reports, forms, etc. And non-verbal media may be of facial expression, body language, and environmental elements. Number 5, noise. Due to the interference of environmental factors, communication may be unplanned distortion, that is called noise. It distorts the normal flow of information from sender to receiver. Number 6, networks. It means the channel for information flow. Communication patterns develop into networks. They consist of formal or informal networks. Number 7, feedback. It is established for reducing distortion in the communication process. It is the response of the receiver, since the sender should try to confirm whether or not the message has been received as intended. Okay, now let me have summing up. Communication is a pervasive function of management. Managers should be able to communicate well with others about planning, organizing, leading, controlling, and so on. The greater the degree of understanding present in a communication, the more likely that human action will proceed in the direction of accomplishing organizational goals. Let's see that how many factors are involving to constitute the types and network of communication. The types of communication can be formal, informal, and interpersonal. First of all, let's see formal communication, what it means. In general, organizational communication that follows the lines of the organization chart is called formal organizational communication. Hence, it is the official channel of communication. Such communication are those that are associated with the formal line of authority. They travel through the formal channel, that is officially recognized positions in the organization chart. They are mostly in black and white. We generally know the phrase proper channel. Explain the essence of formal channels. They include orders, instruction, decisions or intentions, and messages through hierarchical channels. Formal channels of communication flow in 5 different directions, like vertical downward, vertically upward, vertically two-way, horizontal or lateral, and diagonal or crosswise. That is also known as networks of communication. Okay, now discuss in detail of them one by one. Number 1, vertically downward communication. Communication that flows from any point on an organization chart downward to another point on the organizational chart is called vertical downward communication. This type of formal communication relates primarily to the direction and control of employees. It carries on a statement of organization's vision, management system, objective, position, description, order, rules, instructions, directives, guidelines, decision, and so on. It will be impossible to manage an organization without vertical downward communication. Number 2, vertically upward communication. Communication that flows from any point on an organization chart upward to another point on the organization chart is called vertical upward communication. It is just reverse to the vertical downward includes reaction, suggestion, and grievances of the subordinates. Contents of the upward communication are reports, reactions, suggestions, statements, proposals, and so on, which is prepared for submission to the boss in the organizational hierarchy. It is considered as main source of motivation for employees. Number 3, vertically two-way communication. It is the mixed form of vertically downward and vertically upward communication. The flow of communication is both from top to bottom and bottom to top. It carries on both messages like directions of superior and the grievances of subordinates. Number 4, horizontal two-way communication. Horizontal two-way communication refers to the flow of information between departments or individuals of equal level in an organization structure. The communication between functional managers among superintendents of a department working under one single boss. The meeting of general managers of various organizations and so on are the example of such communication. Horizontal two-way communication carries on both written and oral messages. Number 5, diagonal or crosswise communication. It refers to the interchange of ideas, opinions, and views in the form of messages between the superior and subordinates who are neither in the same department nor on the same level of organizational structure. It cuts across the chain of command and violates unity of command. It serves the purpose of coordination bypass the chain of command. It is rarely used in the organizations. Right now, I am discussing informal communication. Informal communication emerges in the form of grapevine and rumors in an organization because of informal relationships among the group members and all having inadequate formal structure of communication. It arises from social interaction. It is unintentional, unplanned, unofficial structure, less dynamic and changing. It is the expression of people's natural motivation to communicate or exercising their freedom of speech. Whenever people meet into the group, the grapevine is sure to develop. The grapevine is an unofficial network of flow of information among people in an organization. It is essential to assess the accuracy of informal communication in the organization because if it goes on, it will engulf the whole organization. It is frequently assumed that rumors start because of gossip. Rumors emerges as a response to a situation that is important to the people in the organization. The rumor is a widely spread opinion without authority for its truth. Generally, it can be widespread during disasters, scarcity, and social disturbances. Grapevine, rumors, and gossip, that is, one person tells the information to all, are deeply rooted in organizational life. Hence, the manager must be attentive and should listen to what is being said. Informal communication can be used by managers to benefit policies, plans, and programs. It has 3 main characteristics. Firstly, it springs up and is used irregularly within the organization. Secondly, top executives do not control it. Thirdly, it is used largely to serve the self-interest of the people within it. Similarly, types of grapevine network consist of single stand chain, that is each tell one another, gossip chain, that is one tells all, probability chain, that is each randomly tells the other, cluster chain, that is some tells others. Okay, now let's observe on interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication is a two-way communication system. The main focus of interpersonal communication is on transforming information from one person to another person. It is considered as the basic method of effecting behavior change and includes the psychological process of perception, learning, and motivation on one hand, and language on the other. It is generally divided into 2 types, that is verbal and non-verbal communication. Communication uses either spoken or written words to share information with others is known as verbal communication. On the other hand, non-verbal communication is sharing information without using words to encode thoughts. Verbal communication may be by way of face-to-face, telephonic, or internet discussion, interview, joint discussion, or consultation, announcement, public broadcast, etc. The message to be transmitted to the verbal media may be orders, instruction, and evaluations. communication, both parties in the process of communication are exchanging their ideas through spoken language, either in face-to-face or through any mechanical devices. It can promptly provide feedback in communicating messages between parties. What about written communication? Written type of communication is in black and white. It includes written words, graphs, and numerical data. It will also take the form of circulars, notes, manuals, reports, posters, or memos, etc. It is the most important media for transmitting messages. In a formal organization, most of the employees receive orders through written communication. Written communication may be used to transmit orders, instruction, evaluation, reports, suggestion, information, observation, or any written material in an organization. Then what about non-verbal communication? Non-verbal communication is communication that involves neither written nor spoken words. It is sharing information without using words to encode thoughts like gesture, postures, vocal tones, and facial expression. As far as environmental elements are concerned, a large office with plush carpeting and expensive furniture conveys a message of status, power, and prestige. Such as the managing director, on the other hand, a small metal desk on a corner communicates the status of a low-ranking officer in the organization setting. Thus, managers in an organization must be sure that both verbal and non-verbal communication should combine well and do not present contradictory messages. Since non-verbal communication should be used to supplement verbal communication, both have the potential impact on the quality of communication. Now, the title is Barrier to Effective Communication. What it means? The answer is communication are the identification of those factors that disrupt the flow of communication. When we talk about disruption to communication, I mean it is blocked. Communication can be blocked on the way due to a number of barriers that exist between the sender and receiver in the transmissions of the messages and in the feedback of the communication process. The barriers to effective communication are vague and various in nature. The barriers can be classified as followed. Now, let's see what it about. Number 1, semantic barriers. These barriers could be the nature of interpersonal. They arise because of different perceptions and cultural backgrounds, credibility of the sender, and emotional state of the receiver at the time the message is received, and so on. Some common forms of semantic barriers are badly expressed message, faulty translation, unclarified assumptions, and use of unnecessary jargon, omission, and specialist language, and so on. Number 2, emotional or psychological barriers. The meaning described to a message depends upon the emotional or psychological state of the receiver who is involved in the time when the message is received. For example, the same message when the receiver is angry, frustrated, or displeased may be interpreted differently when he is happy. These types of barriers could be in the form of intention or poor listening and premature evaluation of messages, loss by transmission and poor retention, unnecessary reliance on the written word, distrust of communicator, and failure to communicate. Number 3, noise or process barriers. It may cause interference in the process of communication by blocking a part of the messages or by diluting the strength of the communication. Poor timing, distances, inappropriate channels, improper or inadequate information due to filtering of information by sender, organizational structure, facility, policy, status, relationship of the employee, information overload, lack of proper feedback mechanism, and network breakdown may arise noise or process barriers to effective communication. Number 4, personal barriers. These barriers can be of two types, that is barriers in superior and barriers in subordinates. The role of superior is very vital because of their hierarchical relationship with subordinates. Hence, they act as barriers in a number of ways, like lacking of confident attitude toward their subordinates, fear of challenges to authority, distrusting and ignoring to communicate. Similarly, two factors like unwillingness to communicate and lack of They may create misunderstanding, confusion, friction, and delays. They are to be minimized for optimizing results through effective communication. In the modern time, the role of formal and rigid organizational structure itself is regarded as a problem, so it is to be re-engineering through maximizing the role of group activities like teamworks, quality circles, task forces, committees, and so on. Thus, managers in an organization should facilitate various types of measures to enhance effective communication. They are as follows. Number 1, objective of communication. Number 2, simplify language. Number 3, complete information. Number 4, consultation. Number 5, consideration of total setting. Number 6, integrity. Number 7, effective listening. Number 8, proper follow-up. Okay, now why not we start to elaborate them one by one. Let me have little bit details each and every point what they provide insight to us briefly. Number 1, objective of communication. It should be clear that the communicator should know exactly what he/she wants to communicate for why. Hence, one of the basic measures for enhancing effective communication is clarifying the purpose of the message and making a plan to achieve the desired end. Number 2, simplify language. Technical jargons should be avoided. Symbols used for encoding and decoding should be compatible with both sender and receiver. Language and tone used in communication should be comprehensive. Number 3, complete information. Information should be adequate and complete in all respects. It is not so as only to meet the demands of today, but should also be based on future needs of organization as well as individuals. Number 4, consultation. It is desirable and necessary to seek the participation of others in planning or communication. Such a consultation often lends additional insight and objectivity to the message and gets active support for enhancing effective communication. Number 5, consideration of total setting. More than words alone convey meaning and intent of communication. Many factors influence the overall impact of it, and managers must be sensitive to the total setting in ways they communicate. They must create an environment of trust and confidence where communication flourishes, reducing all types of barriers and promoting interpersonal relationship will definitely create the condition of trust and confidence. Like all living things, communication must be capable of adapting to its environment too. Number 6, integrity. The communication must be passed through the proper channels to reach the intended receiver. The established channels must be used as required. The communication flow and its speed must avoid bypassing labels or people when they are omitted or bypassed. It creates by curing distrust, confusion, and conflict. Number 7, effective listening. Listening is the other half of talking and is a very important part of the communication process. Listening is an active mental process and goes beyond simply hearing. Good listening habits lead to better understanding and good relationship with each other. Hence, it is the key to effective communication. Active listening requires full attention to the speaker, listening for feeling in the message content, empathy, full understanding, and positive response about the content and the intent of the message. Number 8, proper follow-up. All communication needs a follow-up to ensure the accuracy of what has been communicated. The effective mode is feedback that would determine whether the actions to the communication has been prompt, appropriate, or delayed. Response should be immediately investigated and corrective measures instituted for effective communication. That's all for today. Now, I would like to thank you once again for watching this video and also requesting all of you to like, subscribe, share with friends and relatives wherever residing themselves. Please switch on the bell icon for more exclusive. The subscribe button and bell icon is just below. Keep watching. It will be memorable, useful and wonderful. Don't forget, please subscribe, share, like and comment for the latest uploads.